That's Syed Akbaruddin. In the meantime, India's man at the United Nations. Mr. Akbaruddin, good afternoon here. It must be very, very early there in New York. How are you? How is the world looking upon India's battle? The Janta curfew the Prime Minister has announced. How is this being seen as part of the global effort against COVID-19?
First of all, Arnab, thank you for doing this public service and engaging all Indians in what is a global effort. Yes, it's a crisis that none of us has been through in our lives. It's a public health crisis, but it's also a social crisis. It's an economic crisis, and it's a crisis of global cooperation also. So there are different aspects. Obviously, all states, including our own government and Prime Minister, are engaged in addressing first the public health aspects. But as you know, India is working beyond that too. Prime Minister Modi was amongst the first global leaders to engage the region. Subsequently, it is understood that there will be also a video conference of the G20, of which India is an integral part. We must acknowledge that global cooperation in this instance has not succeeded because it's dependent on global public goods, which is transmission of information. We will have to address this crisis at a later stage, but right now we should be focused on all efforts to ensure that public health of our people is the primary concern, economic issues are the primary concern, and social dislocation and disruption should be addressed. In all those areas, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and our government is taking the lead.
Absolutely. Sanika, our news editor, will ask you the next question. Syed Akbaruddin, please go on. Sanika.
Yes, Mr. Syed Akbaruddin, good evening from here in India. In fact, I would like to ask you, on one hand, we are witnessing that nations are shutting down borders. We've seen that a lot of international flights are being banned in many countries. And at the same time, we're also witnessing that a lot of regional partnerships like SAARC, G7, G20, in fact, they are trying to cooperate. They're coming together to fight this virus. As a diplomat, what is your view? What is likely to be the impact of this pandemic?
So this pandemic, it's clearly going to have a global impact because it is a transboundary issue. It's not an issue that is confined to any one state or any one nation. Those who stand up, address their issues and work for global good will be those who will come out of this successfully. You're right that most countries are now addressing it at a national level, and that's the right way to do it, because global cooperation, we noticed some months ago, did not yield the results that it should have yielded. We will have to address that, but that's at a later stage. Right now, the focus is on ensuring public health, public goods, public welfare, and on all these fronts, it's governments who take the lead. In that context, you've seen what the Indian government is doing, standing far away from our shores. I feel very proud as an Indian that the efforts to unite a country, to promote a message, are all being given such importance, and the resonance is outstanding.
Absolutely. Quick last word from you. How is the UN? I mean, how is the UN functioning? How is New York? How is it for you personally, your family? How is it going?
So New York is in an eerie mood, which I never imagined that a bustling city would ever be in such a situation. The roads are all quiet. It is in many ways the epicenter of the outbreak of coronavirus in the US. So obviously there is a sense of concern, there is a sense of disquiet in the city. That said, tough measures are in place. The citizens are responding extremely well. There is near quiet on the streets. As far as we are concerned, all our diplomats are safe. They are working online with the UN agencies, because in difficult times you have to look at different options. So rather than have in-person meetings, there are virtual meetings that are underway, which is helpful because it also promotes a common bond of solidarity, even while we are individually in a state of isolation. So all well, Arnab. We hope that we will come through this successfully.
We will.
And those countries who do that well will be leading in the future too.
Absolutely, we will. I think our Prime Minister has given a completely clarion call. We're proving how we use the best elements of our democracy, our system, to show the way. And we all pray for all our welfare. And I thank you, Mr. Syed Akbaruddin, for your service and for joining us from New York. Thank you very much.